Hey guys, so first of all, I want to say I have no idea why I feel compelled to make this video today. I have been sort of actively, repulsed is the only word I can think of. I have just been, the idea of making videos for my YouTube channel has just been, I just haven't wanted to do it at all since like the beginning of November. It seems like I go in and out of these phases where I'm like really in my material world, in my physical body, and just sort of like here, and then I back out of it. And I don't know if that's happening right now or what, but I felt totally compelled to talk about this today. I don't know why. Just a week ago, I was supposed to be on a call with my friend from the Neville Goddard subreddit, Cecilia, and my friend Tim Grimes. They did an awesome call together, just kind of talking about revision and talking about their experience as moderators on the Neville Goddard subreddit. So I'll link to that video below, but I was supposed to be on that, and I'm the type of person, when I say I'm going to do something, it really pains me to back out of it, but I was that, like, I didn't want to do it that much. I wanted to not talk about that badly enough that I told them, sorry guys, I can't do the call with you. That if you knew me, that is completely, that's totally out of character for me. That's how repulsed I was from doing anything about it like a week ago. I don't know. I woke up today and I was like, I need to talk about how I doubled my income with my business in December. The last video I made was also about that. But again, I don't know, there must be some people out there that need to hear this today, because I really feel energized to talk about it. And I'm making this video even though I have a big lip herp. So that should be enough for all you ladies out, everybody really. Cold sores are gross, and I have one right now, so I apologize. I have a little cover on it so you don't have to look straight at it. But yeah, I'm making a video with a gross cold sore on my lip. That's how compelled I feel to talk about this. So I wanted to go through what the process of what happened. The doubling of my income is no small thing. I'm gonna take a screenshot of my dashboard on my store. I use Shopify for my store, which is kind of an important part of the story. I'm gonna take a snapshot of the dashboard that has all the financials on it, and I'll set the comparison to last year at the same period so that you can see. I think I looked at it a couple days ago. The revenue to my store has, I think, almost doubled. I think it was up 94%, but the profits to my business are up 128% compared to last year. And that's from December 11th, 2022 till I guess it was yesterday or the day before, which was like, I think St. Patrick's Day. So on March 17th. So over this 3-month period, it's doubled. When I made the video, my last video, I was talking about how it had doubled also, but it had only been a month, so I didn't really want to talk about it too much because, you know, I just wanted to see how things were going to play out. Plus I was busy dealing with the giant influx of business. So I guess the message that I want to convey with this video is that the way these things play out are so mundane and obvious that I mean, this whole genre is just like full of this magical thinking when, you know, it's like a great distraction. It's I think this is the point of this video. This social media distraction in this area is just a hindrance. For every drop of help or actual, like, something somebody gets from the social media surrounding Neville Goddard and manifesting, for every drop of help that's given, there is a bucket of stuff that will make you not backpedal, whatever, go backwards. There's a bucket of stuff that will sap your energy so that you can't even do the thing you're being told to do. And completely removing myself from social media was probably the key thing that allowed this major, you know, increase in money to happen in my life. Just to set it up a little bit, in case you've never seen a video of mine before, I'm already a high net worth individual. In 2010, I couldn't pay my rent. I was broke. By 2014 or 15, I was a millionaire if you include the valuation of my business. By like 2019 or 2020, I was a legitimate liquid millionaire, and whatever. That's a short period of time. I know to the kids, like a decade seems like a really long period of time. It's not, especially when you're in this whirlwind of activity. It goes by really fast, and it's, for me personally, for my personality, that was, it took that entire amount of time to sort of get used to where I was with money. And so, yeah, like I would put my net worth right now, if you include the valuation of my business, which is the same pretty much no matter which way you come at it, about $3 million. And so that is, that's sort of in the lowest, that's like the lowest rung of the wealth ladder. And I think in my opinion and in general opinion, like, I'm in the high net worth individual category, but I'm at the very bottom of that. There are a lot of limits to what I can do with money, which, given that I couldn't pay my rent 10 years ago, didn't really bother me until recently. Like for a long time, it was just a novelty going to the grocery store and putting whatever I wanted in my cart, checking out, not caring, just being able to buy whatever car I want, which lucky for me isn't a very super expensive car, but, like my level of net worth affords you the ability to live well in a not super high cost of living area. You don't really have to worry about most things that the average person has to worry about with money. But you can't, you're not a baller unless you're an idiot with your money. You're not a baller. You're not living in a McMansion. You're not living, you're not cruising around in a $70,000 car, again, unless you're an idiot, which I'm not. So for me, doing the right thing with my money, accumulating wealth, it doesn't leave me a lifestyle of the rich and famous. And so, which I don't really care about all that much. Like I pretty much do what I want now. There's not much missing, but, in the last year or so, the last 2 years, I bought a house with cash at the beginning of last year for a variety of reasons. And there's basically nowhere in the United States that you can do that, where that's a really small sum of money these days. This was post-COVID prices, and I actually got a great deal on my house, and the reason I got it was because I was paying cash. The reason I got it over other people who were clamoring to try to buy it was because I was paying cash. But in the process of, liquidating everything I needed to liquidate to buy this house, I realized, wow, I really don't feel that rich. Like all of the cash that I have is going into this house. So, I want to have more liquid cash. I want to be richer. I started to have that little desire. It just, it started to grow. And for me, that's the beginning of it all. If you don't have a desire for something, you could probably manifest something happening just through sheer force of will and discipline. But, it's a lot easier when you just have a desire for it that naturally, truly comes up, and then it keeps you focused on it. And then that makes the whole thing a lot, require a lot less discipline, which can be taxing. So this desire was born. Further fueled by watching my fiance buy a car last summer. He's a normal person. He went and got a car loan. He went and shopped for a car, had a budget, all that shit. And I was thinking, man, like, it would be so great to be at the point for me mentally. I mean, people with again, if you're an idiot, in my opinion, with my level of wealth, some people might just do this, but I was like, it'd be great to just write a check for a car and not even think about it. It'd be great to just go, you know what, who cares? I'll just buy it. What do you want? You want you want an Acura? Let's just go buy you a $50,000 SUV and I'll pay for it. No problem, babe. But I was just like, yeah, I'm still not mentally at a point where I would feel comfortable doing that. Did I have $50,000 that I could have spent on a car for him if I wanted to? Yes. But this is about the mentality. I wasn't there, and I realized I wasn't there, and I realized I wanted to be there. Desire further solidified. I spent all my cash on a house. I don't like how I feel right now. I don't like the fact that I only have, X amount of dollars available. I certainly don't like that I can't just buy a expensive car. That would be cool to be able to do that. there's the desire. That was, Matt bought his car in May. So that was like the next step along that route of the desire naturally coming about. I didn't do sats about it. I didn't think about it on purpose. I didn't do anything other than let it naturally grow. But, you know, I think a lot of things are brewing behind the scenes as these desires are coming up. And the big pivotal thing that happened that launched this whole thing forward was my growing disgust with social media. I had two main exposures to social media. The comments on my YouTube videos, which were largely positive. I barely ever got just like an outright insult type of comment. But those weren't really even the problem. Like, the negativity wasn't really the problem on YouTube. It was just sort of this exposure to what I feel like is a need in this area. Like, there's a lot of desperate people in this area, and the energy that I get from them, just from reading their words, you know, the energy comes through, and it was sapping me. It's like reading, you know, comments about people not being successful and all this stuff, this sort of victim stuff, and just even people being positive. It was like reading all of these was an energetic drain on me. I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but it was for me. And Reddit was a different story. I was a moderator on the Neville Goddard subreddit from the beginning of June until the end of August last year. Oh my God. I mean, it was just, I can't even explain it. It was, by the time I removed myself as moderator, like by the end of July, my friend Cecilia, who was also moderating at the time, she just left for a while, for like a month, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know, not that long actually, probably felt like a month. She left because it just gets so overwhelming. You get sick, you get tired, judgmental, angry at all these people who won't do anything for themselves. And for me personally, people that don't understand, it's like you just want to shake them. And this is from, you know, Cecilia was saying that she started to be jaded, and that's exactly how I felt. I was just like, God, I can't, you know, and that you don't get paid for doing that. Not like I would want to be paid anyway, but it's just like, it comes to the point where you're like, what am I doing here? And so I just removed myself as a moderator. And then I removed myself from that subreddit because it's not a good place to be if you want to move forward with anything you're trying to do. It just isn't. If you're somebody that lives on that subreddit, the best thing you do for yourself is get off of the subreddit. And that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing. I'm going to repeat it. I also turned off all the comments on my YouTube videos just because I could. I realized I don't have to do this. I don't have to allow comments. I don't have to provide a space for this thing to happen. So I turned them off. Again, I'm going to say it again. That was the biggest thing I did. It doesn't seem like a big deal until you're removed from it. And then you realize how much energy goes out at those things. Vadim Zealand in Reality Transurfing describes this as a pendulum. It's like a group of people come together and he describes it as an energy being. It's just something happens where it becomes like a group mind, and there become like unspoken rules, and you adhere to these rules without even realizing it. And if you don't, you're ejected, which is like my experience with every group I've ever been in. It just sucks energy from you. Your mentality, the more time you spend there on like YouTube, on Reddit, any of these places, Facebook, does anybody use Facebook anymore? The more time you spend there, the more your consciousness lives there. Think about it. I'm sure you can relate to this, what I'm saying. Your mind is there. It's like you're not here. And all this energy just gets sucked into this pendulum. And I didn't fully realize this until I completely removed it from my life. And it was crazy. It was just crazy how all this energy, after about a week, all this energy came rushing back to me By October, I was like completely cleaning out my entire warehouse. I was just like, I had all this energy. I was waking up like, oh my God, I've got, I need to do stuff. All of a sudden, I became interested in my business again. Since I got involved with Reddit at the end of 2019, that really is the time when everything started stagnating at work. I thought I was just bored. Maybe I was when it started. I thought I was just bored. I thought I was just burned out with my business. I had no motivation or desire to get back into it. And, when I would think about doing anything with work, it was just this feeling of exhaustion. Just like, oh, I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the energy for that. Well, it turns out the reason I didn't have the energy for it was because it was being sucked into this useless garbage can known as Reddit. And once I had that energy back, it was effortless. It was effortless. So here's the mundane details of how this happened. In October, I started having this surge of energy that continued through to about the middle of November. I completely cleaned out and reorganized my office and my warehouse. It needed to be done. It was so obvious once I got, I was just like, the reason that things aren't taking off here, the reason that things are stagnating is because everything is a mess. Like everything has been totally neglected. I need to start pruning and cleaning everything up. So I did that between October and the middle of November. And then once my environment had been reshuffled and organized and it was like it was ready to go. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move all this stuff. I'm ready to like do whatever I need to do to get business in, more business. I started spending energy on Facebook ads again. I used to do that, but it became too taxing. Like that was the thing. All of my energy was going somewhere else, and the energy that needed to be going into certain things that increase business, it was not available. All of a sudden, working on my Facebook ads no longer seemed like a drag. I started doing that again, but it didn't really help, honestly. I had Facebook ad campaigns that were already bringing in business, and it didn't really do what I had hoped it would. On the day before Thanksgiving, I was talking to my brother, who I consider to be a pretty brilliant business mind. I was talking to my brother about redoing my entire website. Because in my mind, my website had always been kind of a problem. We didn't have a mobile site, which was a problem in my mind. My brother looked at my website on his phone. He said, I don't think you should change anything. This looks good to me. I see products I can buy. This looks good to me. I don't see why this is what needs to change. And I was like, it's kind of a big deal. It ended up being a very big deal. But I'm like, it's kind of a big deal to like move my website to a new platform. I had been on this platform for a long time that I really hated. I just thought they were kind of dicks. They would gaslight you about problems. The checkout had some issues. I didn't realize how big the issues at checkout were. I suspected we were losing people at checkout a lot more than we realized, because, if you get an email from somebody saying, I can't check out, there are 500 other people who just left and never said a word to you. So I would occasionally get emails like that from people saying that they, were having problems. And I was like, well, forward it to the tech team, but I know they're not going to fucking do anything about it. So, that had been on my mind for a long time. I was like, but at the same time, fear prevented me from doing anything, because I was like, I've got a website that is, handling $1 million in sales every year. Do I really want to risk the unknown? Do I really want to risk moving this somewhere else where I'm not familiar with the back end? I'm not, I don't know how it works. And so I was just sort of like, about that. And the weekend after Thanksgiving, so like 4 days later, I decided to get all my Christmas shopping done early so that I would be ahead of the game, because I had all this energy. Like I was saying, I'm going to be on top of everything. So I'm doing all this Christmas shopping. I'm trying to think of stuff for my mom and my aunts. I'm looking all around on these websites. And I kept finding myself on the same checkout page, like the same formatted checkout page. And I'm like, man, this checkout page is awesome. Our checkout page sucks. I wish we could have this for our site. Like, this is so straightforward. It's so easy. It's like really intuitive. There's nothing confusing. The font is like big enough. It's not like this little shitty page. And I was like, okay, after about the fourth one where I checked out through the exact same like type of system, I'm like, well, this is obviously a prefab web host. It's an e-commerce host. Who is this? And of course it was Shopify. So I was like, all right, that's it. That was it. The Christmas shopping experience was, thank God I did that, because the ease of checking out for me convinced me that I needed to get that as my checkout. I needed to use that as my checkout. I was 100% clear. I was like, if we could have people checking out of our site using this checkout page, then it would just make things, it would make things, it would increase the conversion rate by a lot. I was pretty convinced of that. Nobody else was. My business partner was like, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I really think, don't get your hopes up. I don't think it's going to do what you think it's going to do. He was very resistant to the idea of changing the website for the same reasons I was. I'm always about 6 months ahead of him when it comes to like wanting to change things. Like he had, he was also very afraid of losing business, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. Anyway, all this energy, I took all this energy and channeled it right into making that happen. Like the second I decided to do it, it was on. I spent all of my time, like I couldn't have stopped if I wanted to. That's the thing about this manifestation thing. You will just do what you have to do. You will be compelled to do what you have to do. And it's not like you won't know why you're doing it or your brain won't be there, blah, blah, blah. I knew exactly what was happening, but it was such a strong force. Like I spent all my time on it for about, I think Thanksgiving was kind of late this year. I launched the new website like to my mailing list on December 11th. So it took me about 2 weeks because I had to sit there actually and wait for a service to transfer over all of the data from my old site to my new site. And that literally took 10 days for it to all get done transferring. It's crazy. Hundreds of thousands of orders and customers and products and all that shit from, 10 years of being in business, over 10 years. So that took forever. Anyway, the second it was ready, I launched it. Conversion rate doubled immediately. It never went down. I started getting my Facebook sales like quadrupled the same day. I was not expecting that. That must have been where most of the conversion rate improved, because my mailing list, which is how I get most of my business, was already buying stuff. And I think it was the Facebook connection that really changed everything. But so that's the mundane details of what happened. Now, does that sound like something that, from what I just said, does that sound like something that I couldn't have done at some other point? Like, it was basically a bunch of, admin work. It was just that finally there was no fear. Finally, or I should say finally, the compulsion to do it was stronger than any kind of fear or anything holding me back. And that to me is what happens with this manifestation thing. It's not some magic thing getting dropped in your lap. It's the wool being removed from in front of your eyes about whatever, it's the wool being the fear. It's always fear standing in your way of whatever you're trying to do. Think about it. It's fear of not knowing you're really going to want the thing that you're trying to get when you actually get it. It's fear that something bad's going to happen when you get it. It's fear that you're not going to be able to handle it. It's fear that you're not going to be able to do it. That's the thing that's standing in the way of just this free flow action happening. And this was a perfect example of it for me. Perfect. The second that I became convinced that I didn't have to worry because I went through this checkout process on this site myself while just randomly shopping, that's what did it for me. I was just like, I got to get this. Like, I have no fear. This is not going to be bad. This is going to be good. This is going to produce the result I want, and I wish I could have it right now. Like that feeling is what produces an outer result. It's what removes the fear. So, that's what I did. And I'll post a screenshot. I'll link to Tim and Cecilia's conversation that I did not participate. I'm so glad I wasn't on that call because I like this, how this turned out with just them. But I will link to that, and I will link to, I'm going to make a post on my subreddit where I'll post a screenshot of my Shopify financial thing from December 11th till now versus December 11th, 2022 till now, so that you can see that it actually increased by 90% or whatever, and that my profits actually went up by much more. So I'm making more money without having to do as much work, is what that means. So anyway, and by the way, in my mind also, I was afraid of business doubling because I didn't want to become overtaxed. I didn't want to have to work. And again, that was largely because my energy was so sapped by Reddit. Human beings have energy and like to do things as a general rule. If you're just laying around and you're a sloth, I think for the vast majority of people who are experiencing that, it's not just because that's how you are. It's because your energy is being sucked away by some negativity that you're experiencing or perpetuating in your mind, or by, some depression or something like that. When you remove that shit, there's all this energy and there's all this motion. And I've been in all of these places in my life. I've been the depressed person who doesn't get anything done for years, literally my entire 20s, basically until I was like 26 or 27. And then even once that started to change, it was a major struggle for like 5 years. I didn't get to the point where I was fully out of that sort of depressed, lethargic, ineffective, unproductive place. I didn't get out of that for like 10 years. I think most people, like for sure, I think, my significant other at this point in my family would say, oh, like she's gung-ho, I'll, get this done, do this, all this energy, don't leave things till tomorrow, that kind of thing. That was not me naturally. And I'm not sure there is a natural state for humans other than being like kind of vivacious and having energy to do things and wanting to do things. I think that's sort of your natural state. Not depressed, lethargic, unmotivated. That to me, I think, is an indicator that there's something wrong that you can fix. I mean, if you're happy with that, fine. But I mean, I don't think you can just say, oh, I'm just a lazy person. It sucks, but I just have to accept it. I don't buy that. Sorry, I'm turning red because it's so hot and I have a fleece on and it's really warm in my car. So anyway, that's the story of what happened. I mean, I was afraid of things doubling. I was afraid of the thing I wanted actually happening. And, it has been a huge increase in work, but nothing that I couldn't handle. Nothing that I wasn't ready for. Nothing that I haven't wanted to have happen. Thanks to having all this energy back from removing my energy from social media. And maybe for you, it's not social media. Maybe for you, it's like some family situation or something sucking away all your energy. The biggest part of this whole thing for me was getting that energy back. And sometimes you don't even realize where it's going. So that's kind of an important thing to think about if you're not getting where you want to go. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So I don't know if or when I'm going to be back again, hopefully without a lip herp. I've been so involved in my material surroundings and my body and the people around me and all that stuff. I've been like really present in a sort of earthy kind of way for the last few months. But I'm starting to feel the need to detach a little bit from that because I'm starting to feel all the weight of that, of being so constantly enveloped in the physical world and, the goings on of this like little world that I have here. I'm starting to need to kind of come outside of that again. So maybe I will start talking on here again. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody. I really think somebody needed to hear this because I just have no idea why I just spent the last half hour doing this. I haven't wanted to at all. Even a week ago, I was just like, God, I don't want to even talk about anything having to do with Neville, Goddard, or manifestation, or have anything to do with anyone who's like into that right now. because of the energy suck that generally has meant for me. But I don't know, today I just woke up and I'm like, I gotta talk about this. So I hope it helps somebody. Have a great day.